the commission last week asked the court to jail Zuma for 2 years after the 78-year-old intentionally and unlawfully failed to appear last month to supply affidavits.
Now, before I move into the next story, I want to go back to the full price story. How did you get here this morning? Did you have like hitch, getting here, commuting all the way down?
No, I didn't really get so much issues getting here because I already saw, like, forecasted what the situation was going to look like. All through the night, driving around Abuja, I saw lots of cars, queues, and I was wondering.
The queues were
what's
terrible.
going on? So
it was quite a ride for me because it took me longer to get here, having to wait, for my ride to get there. They were waiting for fuel, queuing for fuel, and even on my way here, the queue was massive. And aside from car queuing at the fuel stations, even people standing by the roadside to get to work. It was quite terrible, and I hope something is done about that real quick. All right, moving over to Uganda, where President Yoweri Museveni has once again accused tech giant Facebook of being biased against Uganda's ruling party and its supporters. Now, the social media platform, that's Facebook, suspended several accounts linked to the National Resistance Movement party days to the January election, accusing them of being involved in coordinated, inauthentic behavior in an attempt to influence public debate ahead of the poll. At the time, Mr. Museveni accused Facebook of arrogance and announced a ban on the platform. The social media platform remains inaccessible unless using a virtual private network, that's a VPN. Now, in a Sunday meeting with victims of Facebook NRM members whose accounts were suspended, the president told them they were better off without the platform. Ever since Facebook went, have you heard of any shortage of sugar in town? Do you not have clothes? Facebook will talk, but we shall move. They are not God, Mr. Museveni said. That's quite funny, I must tell you. I think Museveni has got quite a sense of humor, even,
Yeah. Now moving on to Ghana and Ivory Coast. Ghana and Ivory Coast administers world's first free COVAX jabs. Ghana and its West African neighbor Ivory Coast on Monday became the world's first states to administer vaccines from COVAX, a global scheme to procure free COVID jabs for poorer countries. Richer nations have surged ahead with inoculating their population, but many poorer countries are still awaiting their first vaccine doses. This statement is coming from the president of Ghana. It says, "It is important that I set the example that this vaccine is safe by being the first to have it, so that everybody in Ghana can feel comfortable about taking this vaccine." That's the Ghanaian president, Nana Akufo-Addo, speaking just before he received, or just after he received, the free COVAX vaccine. And in Ivory Coast, a short while later, Patrick Archie, President Alassane Ouattara's spokesman, was vaccinated in a tent vaccination center set up in a sports complex in Abidjan, the country's economic hub. And today is Tuesday. Nigeria is, of course, set to receive its 3.92 million free COVID-19 vaccines.
All right, having said that, we're going to move to our COVID-19 update from across Africa for today.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. It's still the conversation on your digital first Pan-African news network, TRS Television. And now it's time for us to get into the national dailies and check out some headlines. Okay, we'll begin with the leadership newspaper this morning, and we have this gaping headline that says, "Terrorists now in border towns with FCT," says Governor Sule. Terrorists now in border towns with FCT, says Governor Sule. You can find that on the page 4 of leadership newspaper. It has about 4 riders under it, 3 riders. It says Boko Haram members operating in Karo, Nasarawa, Wamba local government areas. Bandits kill 25 in Sokoto, Kaduna, and Niger beeps of security around tertiary institutions. Behind the photo of the day, you have this headline that says COVID-19. Fear of executive order forces civil servants to observe protocol. And just under that story, you have federal government rolls out strategy for vaccination, says persons under 18 not eligible. All of those stories you can find this morning on the Leadership newspaper.
Now moving over to the Guardian newspaper this morning, the first headline, this gaping headline, says telcos count losses as inactive telephone line hits 7.6 million in 2 months. Another headline there says building smart, prosperous Lagos for all, and I think that's coming from the Lagos state government this morning. And then the very gaping headline, something in line with what we read across the Developments Across Africa segment, says Nigerians scramble for fuel as price hikes, scarcity spread. And I think a lot of Nigerians, especially if you commute to work every morning, you'd have experienced that. Those are the gaping headlines on the Guardian newspaper this morning.
Now we move over to Business Day. Now on Business Day, you have this story that says electronic call-up scuttles Apapa Ports racket. Electronic call-up scuttles Apapa Ports racket. And the very bold headline this morning says Nigeria's local gas focus opens investment opportunities. Nigeria's local gas focus opens investment opportunities. And on page 30 of the Business Day newspaper, you find the story that says 4 things to expect as 4 million vaccines does arrive Nigeria today. 4 things to expect. Adeswa, what are you expecting? What are your expectations as regard Nigeria receiving 4 million vaccines today?
Well, my first expectation would be proper distribution or vaccination plans, right? Who are they vaccinating first? Who's getting, and then proper distribution across states. Maybe the states with the largest number of COVID-19 cases, gets the first shot. Stuff like that. Proper distribution channel, distribution plan, and vaccination plan. That's basically what I'm expecting. Every other thing is secondary. I'm also expecting lots of Nigerians to be resistant, because we're usually very skeptical about stuff like that. So they also need to do lots of sensitization as to why you should get vaccinated and then how safe it is and all of those stuff. Also testing. I would like for the vaccines to be tested safe enough. I think by NAFDAC or maybe the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, just test it to say, okay, it's good enough for Nigerians to use, and then approve it for use first before the distribution, and then side-by-side sensitization of Nigerians.
All right. Also, the online registration portal has been opened by the National Primary Health Care Development Agency, NPHCDA, and the portal is open for Nigerians to register, so you could be part of the people that will be selected to be inoculated with the vaccines as it arrives Nigeria today. And that's how we wrap it up on the National Dailies this morning. We'll go on a quick break, and when we get back, Adeswa will take us through what is trending on social media. Just stay tuned.
Welcome back. Yes, it's still the conversation on TOS TV network. And right about now, it's about that time where I take you through what is trending on social media. Now, as I always tell you, every time you go on social media, especially Twitter, and you check the trend table, there's always something to look out for. Something could either be controversial, very random, trending issues. And sometimes it just keeps you glued to your phone, and then Twitter Street is just very hilarious. And then some of those, I'm going to take, I think 2 of those kind of tweets, kind of hilarious and controversial. And then if you're Nigerian, you'll be able to relate to it. Now, the first one is by Cleverly Ahmed. He says, anywhere you see me, I beg use 100K to stone my head. I mean, it's quite. I mean, it looks pretty, random and then not thoughtful. But if you think about it, it's like people need money.
Yeah,
And it's just-
apart from the fact that people need money, Nigerians have this entitlement mentality
Okay, if you're going to go,
already. If you
you're
want to
going
go
to go
that
in that
direction,
yes.
So but how do you just feel that you just be walking on the street and somebody will just shake your hands and then give you a 100K?
Well, it's like it might not be entitlement. It's just that you just look at the guy and need money. So anybody you see, just dash me
everybody
something.
needs money. Yeah. So anytime you just see me,
something.
just give me eight or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's what this person is trying to say. And then this other person, I think, has issues with mathematics. Dream Blaze at Blaze says, to the mathematicians who thought of the idea of zero, thanks for nothing. I mean, why is there zero? Really? What it's like zero nothing, zero over this. So it's like literally thanks for nothing, because zero is actually nothing. So it's like literally thanks for nothing. Well, you could have come up with something else.
But sometimes you really tend to wonder when you go on social media, you go on Twitter and you see this random tweets, you really tend to wonder the thought pattern behind
what was happening at the time they were thinking about, like what was happening at that time. Sometimes I see random tweets and I'm like, what did this person see? They just made you come up with something like that. It's amazing how your mind works, how the mind works. It's just you just think of. I think of the most random thoughts. I think when I'm in the bathroom. When does the most random thoughts come to your mind?
I don't know.
For me, I think it's either when midnight, when I'm supposed to be sleeping and I can't sleep,
awake.
and when I'm trying to sleep and then I just get a random thought. I'm like, it's as random as me trying to remember where I kept something during the day. Where's this thing? I didn't think about it the whole day. And it's midnight when I'm trying to sleep. That's when it comes to mind. It's just weird how the mind works, especially at very odd hours and odd situations. All right, that's so much you can take on the What's Trending social media segment of the conversation. We're going to go on a break, and when we come back, we'll be taking you through the big story for today.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. It's still the conversation on your digital first Pan-African news network, TUS TV. It's now time for us to take the big story this morning, and we'll be looking at the series COVID-19. 1 year after Nigeria recorded its first case. Yesterday we dived in a little bit into the health sector and of course Nigeria receiving vaccines and all of that. This morning we'll be looking at the economic recovery plan as regards COVID-19. Now, on 30th January 2020, the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 to be a public health emergency of international concern. The pandemic, which broke out earlier in December 2020 in Wuhan, China, has spread across the world, and Nigeria's index case was confirmed in Lagos on the 27th of February 2020. Since then, as at February 27th, the country has recorded over 154,000 cases and almost 1,900 deaths across 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory 1 year after. With many parts of the world trying to contain the pandemic, the rising cost of the outbreak of businesses and the global economy is alarming, and the organized private sector explores measures to reduce the impact that the global crisis might likely have on struggling local economy. Now, the emergence of COVID-19 and its increasing incidence in Nigeria called for drastic review and changes in the earlier revenue expectations and fiscal projections. Compared to events that led to recession in 2016, the current state of the global economy poses more difficulties as the oil price is currently below US $30, with projections that it will dip further. So this morning we would like to get your thoughts, we'd like to get your reactions as to, do you think that Nigeria is taking a fundamental step? Do you think that we're in the right direction as to getting to that place of economic recovery, seeing the damage that the pandemic brought along with it. Adeswa, what do you think? Do you think that we're on the right path as regards economic recovery plan?
Personally, I wouldn't know what the right path actually means, right? But I do say we're taking steps in the right direction. I say that because I think the first thing that we did right was deciding to come out of the lockdown, deciding to ease lockdowns,
Okay.
because I knew how crippling the lockdown was on Nigeria's already struggling economy. Businesses were shut down, you couldn't do so much, people were losing their jobs. So you had more unemployment rates, we had more, I think less income flow. You had after-school children and all of that stuff. So having to come out of lockdown, they're starting to put policies in place and look, well, okay, there's still COVID, but this is how we're going to manage it, right? We're going to put restrictions to social gatherings and all of that stuff, but businesses will still go back to being businesses and all of this stuff. And then if you are not going to be in the office, just work from your home. So cash kept flowing and all of that stuff kept coming in, and I think that was one of the things that we did in the right direction. And I think even before COVID, the country had this economic recovery and growth plan that it did. Every year.
That's under the office of the vice president.
Yes, and I think they had to work in line, restructure things and work in line with all of that to see that the Nigerian economy it doesn't dive. I think we went into recession and then we came out of recession, even though there's 6 sectors that are kind of waving. But I think the government of Nigeria is doing quite an amazing job at economic recovery 1 year after COVID-19. It's not easy, trust me. Having a global pandemic is something you were not prepared for. No country in the world was prepared for it at the time. We didn't even know how to handle such cases. I think the biggest we had ever handled was Ebola, and that didn't even affect every part of the country. So we had to now handle something that affected not just a part of the country, not just the people, but the economy itself, and then having to now rise from that. I think we did a good job.
So we'd like to hear from you this morning. Log on to our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TSTV Network. Let's know what you think regarding the economic recovery plan and growth plan in Nigeria as regards bouncing back from the recession as it happened, because of the coronavirus pandemic. We'd like to read your thoughts on our social media platforms. So log on to our website www.tstvnetwork.com and read up stories on politics, business, and development. I'm Salze Isesale.
And I'm Adesoa Osiyi. But before I go, be safe. Take necessary precautions. There's still COVID-19 in Nigeria, even though vaccinations have arrived, but they haven't started rolling out yet. So you have to be safe. Wear your face mask when you're public, wash your hands, social distance, use hand sanitizer. It's just proper precautions to ensure that you and the next person is safe. Thank you so much for watching the show this morning.